Well, we had new Nintendo hardware announced today. Kind of. If you remember, over the last 24 hours or so, there was a lot of talk around there being something going on at Nintendo, them prepping for an announcement, and a lot of that came from them pulling down videos, specifically Switch Lite, Switch OLED announcement trailers, and of course that then ended up going all the way to they're announcing a Switch Pro or a new Nintendo Switch or something. It's imminent, it's happening. And then we got the Splatoon 3 Switch. I wasn't really sold on the idea of them dropping new hardware because, let's face it, Nintendo likes Nintendo, and they take a lot of left turns when you think they're going right. And so I'm very hesitant to immediately just say, yeah, it's definitely happening when it's something like videos being privated, right? But this is really funny. You're probably going to see a lot of videos and articles pop up now, not because, oh, wait, okay, the Splatoon 3 OLED is announced. We're just going to move along now and we'll do it all again next year. No. This appears to have actually reinforced the idea of Nintendo announcing new hardware this year. And I wanted to at least give you an idea as to why people are thinking that. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new to the SpawnWave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. This is a forum where the information is currently coming from. It's a Chinese forum, and it appears that at least one person here does have knowledge when it comes to the manufacturing of these systems with Nintendo, as they actually let people know that there was a Splatoon 3 OLED coming pretty soon. I think they had mentioned on here less than 24 hours before its announcement. And a lot of that seems to do with them having access to the manufacturing of the shells, and they're talking about seeing the back of them. And this is also the same forum, to my knowledge, where that Switch Lite shell, the back shot of that turquoise model, had originated from. And remember, when that first got out there were a lot of people who thought it was fake, ended up being correct. In fact, I remember there was a lot of pushback when I covered that, and hey, technically it was correct. So when this person starts mentioning it on this forum, of course, people are paying attention, especially since they came out and mentioned the Splatoon 3 OLED, which is here. The translation through Google Translate is spotty at best. It says like Spray 3. It definitely says like Splatoon 3 OLED being announced potentially tonight, which for them, that's like our morning kind of. So that at least lines up. But the part about this that people are then jumping to the idea of more hardware coming as soon as a month or two from now, at least an announcement of it, is that this same person is at least talking about some other Switch that is currently going into manufacturing or is in manufacturing now. They mentioned the back shell having the same Switch logo, which kind of sounds like they'd be referring to it being like a revision of the current one, not necessarily a full generational leap to like a Switch 2 or something. But because they had this OLED for the Splatoon 3 special edition lined up, called out, of course, you put then their idea that it could be announced in September, which is something they have mentioned in this thread specifically, then people are, of course, running with it there. Now, the way I have read this translation of it, or at least what they've put out there, it's their opinion that it would launch in September, as they themselves are trying to line up a timetable with Nintendo, which, as we've seen throughout the years, is very difficult to do unless the press release goes out and you have it in your inbox and you're like looking at it, and then something gets out there. That's typically the only way you can get something from Nintendo, like dead on accurate, this is when it's happening, and all these different things, right? So the idea of trying to line this up isn't great because Nintendo likes to Nintendo. It's like the best way we have to describe them is by using their own name. So while they could announce it in September, I don't necessarily know why that would make a lot of sense for them. Now, they're not going to, at least I wouldn't think they would announce it before the Splatoon 3 system is out, because that just undermines completely the idea of this announcement. Here's the Switch OLED Splatoon 3 themed system. Then also, here's this better Switch that you can just hold off and buy that instead. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So if they were going to announce it, it would probably be after the Splatoon 3 system, which sure falls into September. But then it's like, why would they announce a better Switch ahead of the holiday season if it's not coming out in the holiday season. And I don't think it would. Like, I don't think they would announce it in September, then it comes out in November or something. It'd be very odd to do that so quickly. So you figure they announce it in September and it'd come out the following year. I guess technically they announced the Switch itself in October, then talked about it in January, then it released in March, but like they weren't trying to really sell Wii U's anymore at that time. It's pretty obvious it was a failed system for Nintendo, set them back kind of badly, so they were ready to just move ahead as quick as possible. And they had prepared several games with we saw Splatoon, Mario Kart, Zelda, and Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They were preparing pretty far in advance for that launch. So it does make me wonder if it would be worth it for them to potentially damage this holiday season with an announcement for a better Switch that probably wouldn't come until the following year. The reason I say that is if you're going to launch new hardware, you probably put it next to this massive title release, and that being Breath of the Wild 2. You just reenact the Switch release all over again in March. Very, very interesting stuff here. But there we have it. Yes, you're going to see a lot of articles and videos pop up around more Switch hardware. Even though we just had this Splatoon 3 bundle, this system announced, you'll still see a lot of talk around a Switch Pro and so on, probably over the next couple of months, and then I assume we'll all come back and do it again next year. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. I did have a pretty good laugh when I saw the Splatoon 3 system announced because there was a lot of hype building up, and then you, of course, get that left turn out of Nintendo. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.